Alright guys, we got a big one today. We are ranking the levels or the courses of Super Mario 64, one of my favorite games of all time. I've been waiting to do this one. I wrote the blog for this over at DeHubs a few years ago. My opinions, for the most part, have not changed. Some stuff is kind of interchangeable depending on the mood or the day. But for the most part, what I wrote about these 15 courses is going to be how I feel. Just a little housekeeping. If you can hear my daughter or my dogs in the background, just disregard them. So let's get on with this list. Coming in at number 15 is Dire Docks. And I think all the water levels are pretty interchangeable down here at the bottom. They're just not very good. They really fill these levels with water. And Dire Docks is just boring to me. The stars are either super quick or super tedious. I mean, look at the 8 red coin star in this game, or in this level. Maybe the worst 8 coin stars in the game. And that's probably true for all the water levels. They all have pretty middling 8 red coins. And this level, the music is iconic, but the gameplay is just super underwhelming. So for me, Dire Docks has the pleasure of taking home number 15. Moving on to 14 is Jolly Roger Bay. Like I said, these water levels are kind of interchangeable, but I think this level's just a little more interesting. The Ill is kind of like a central villain, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. There's the cave, there's the actual, I guess, the Jolly Roger ship or what have you, that gives this level just a little bit of character, a little bit of charm, but still a very bad 100 coin star. The most interesting star in here is maybe the cave, and the cave isn't like super in depth or anything. So yeah, Jolly Roger Bay just taking 14. Again, the water levels have great music, not great levels. So we'll just go ahead and round out the waters with course 13 being Wet Dry World. I do actually want to give a minute to this level to give it some props. It's certainly the most creative of the three and encourages exploration the best. You know, you can jump into the map at differing heights to affect the water level, and this game is layered based off the water. So isn't it great? I mean, that's like everybody's favorite gimmick from a certain Legend of Zelda dungeon on the 64. So isn't it awesome? They made an entire Mario 64 course around that gimmick. Of course, Mario 64 came out first, but I'm just pointing out that changing water levels, not a very fun gimmick in video games, it turns out. But this level could have been a lot more. It's just very empty. It's very hollow. There's the whole other section of the map, the town, right? And that's got 2 stars, I think, the invisible cap and the 8 red coins. And I always thought that the hidden town was such a cooler concept than actual, right? So there's no NPCs out there. There's no interior houses. There's really nothing. Again, you can change the water level. You can go invisible. This level, I think, maybe out of more than any other course in this game, had so much potential, but it just comes across as pretty hollow. Like, I like the idea, I like the foundation, but not the execution. And it relies on, it's got a secret, like, find the 4 spots or whatever, and people tend to be hit or miss on that. So coming in at number 12 is actually a top 5 level for me personally, but if I'm being unbiased, I gotta put Snowman Land here at number 12. This, guys, this would be 3 or 4 in my personal opinion, and I know this is my list, but I am trying to be a little objective here, because it's a tiny level, but I think the stars in it are good. Climbing the Iceman, the Snowman's Head, the boss fight, the 8 red coins is pretty cool. There's a secret portion of this map. There's the cannons, the wind. You can actually lose Mario's hat. The penguins are here. I think there's actually a lot of cool things about this map, and I love getting in the cannon and trying to fire to the top of the snowman's head. I think there's some neat stuff about this map, but unfortunately it's just it's really small, and I guess that kind of hurts it in my view, but personally, it's one of my favorite levels to play. Coming up next is Rainbow Ride, and this is going to be one I'd love to see where you guys rank it, because in my opinion, this is an iconic map. It highlights kind of the beauty and the beauty and the beast, or the good and the bad of level design at this time, because this level is massive compared to Snowman Land, and there's so many different subsects of this level. There's the 8 red coins, there's that floating house where the chimney is shooting fire at you, there's obviously the giant ship in the sky. There's so many sections to this map, but it also, just something I noticed about Super Mario 64 is it's so chaotic. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to half the level design. You're just taking this magic carpet ride through somebody's acid trip, really, is what this level kind of feels like and plays like. And we all know that the deaths here are kind of cheap. It's an instant death for all, and but the stars are really spaced out. There's a lot of different things to do. I wish there wasn't so much instant death. That's just me. I think it'd be kind of cool if you could just freely move about the parts of the map without risking falling to death, right? But I guess that's kind of its charm, is this is one of the hardest levels in the game because of the instant deaths and the enemies, and just, I mean, the vertical ascension, I guess, part of this map is so cool. It's so hectic and stressful that it's super memorable and super iconic, but it's also feels like it's just thrown together, right? But it's a very cool map, but I still got to slot it down at number 11 just because it seems so disconnected. All right, moving on to number 10 is Tiny Huge Island. I'm actually kind of surprised I put this one this low, but this map it's awesome. I mean, here we are at number 10 out of 15, and I'm still saying it's really cool because the way that they break this map up is you can go into one side and then it's like, wait, is Mario big or is the island small? And you can go in the other map and it's like, is Mario small or is the island big? The stars are kind of neat in this one, and you constantly are jumping in the warp pipes to go between big and small. Wiggler is a boss, which is kind of random. Pretty sure this map relies on the, to find 4 secret spots. Koopa the Quick is back, so I guess that's kind of a rehash star. But this one I love the big and small shift, if you will, dichotomy, because, we think old school NES Mario, one of the big differences was getting the power up and turning big, or getting hit and being small. So they found a very interesting way to bring that, and they use it on this map. So I really do like this map a good bit. So that should tell you something when this scores 10, right? Number 9, Lethal Lava Land. A very cool stage, and I hated this map as a kid. I hate most fire levels. I'm just being honest with you guys. But as I've Let's Played and streamed Super Mario 64 so many times, this is one of the levels I've learned a lot of tips and tricks for. I've learned how to get most of the stars without even getting touched. So I've actually come to really like this map, and the volcano is super cool for 2 more stars. The 100 coin star is actually pretty fun. Like, to me, this level is like a healthy amount of stress because you don't ever want to touch the fire, and there is a lot of chaos. Like the 8 red coins are very simple, right? They're on the shifting Bowser puzzle pieces, if you will. But that feels fun because the pieces are shifting very frantically and there's fire underneath you. But if you're good enough at the game, you don't ever really feel like you're going to fall in. But it still adds this kind of urgency to it, or kind of like there's consequences if I misclick. And I kind of feel that way with this whole level, where none of it's really too hard. I mean, you can grab the flying cap, the Koopa shell. You can just do some nifty platforming. You never really feel like you're in that big a danger, but at the same time, a misclick and you're hearing Mario's butt catch fire. So I like Lethal Lava Land. It definitely starts to ramp up the difficulty. You know, when you make it to the downstairs, you can go to Shifting Sandland, you can go to Lethal Lava Land, and they both kind of bring that, like, I could die at any second, which is, I don't know, Lethal Lava Land is just kind of neat, I guess. Moving on to number 8 is Cool Cool Mountain, and this level was pretty crazy as a kid. I mean, it's massive, don't get me wrong. There's lots of shortcuts and so many different ways to get down the mountain, and I'll never forget as a kid just yeeting the penguin off the side of the map. You know, that's still funny to me. This level has the slides, it's got the mama penguin, it's got the shortcut, it's got those wall kicks for the 6th star or whatever. It's just a very awesome level. I love grabbing the little penguin and saying, hold on, bucko, here we go, and jumping off the side of the mountain and sliding down and like doing really cool shortcuts. This map is just, it's kind of chock full of secrets, and it's one of the, you know, like create your own path. I really do like Cool Cool Mountain. I still like Snowman Land a little better personally, but I think Cool Cool Mountain is the better level. It's massive. There's so many secrets. You can really do things at your own pace, your own skill level. It does have arguably the worst star in the game. The Build the Snowman's Head is one of my least favorite stars, so I can't put it in the top 5, even though I'm gushing about it because of that darn star. All right, number 7 is Hazy Maze Cave, or as I call it, the Hazy Mazy Cavey. This level, if I'm being honest with you guys, is maybe my least favorite level, but again, I'm trying to be objective here, and there is something about this level's diversity in the stars that's really cool. You go down to the bottom of the cave, and there's the metal cap, and then there's, Lapras. I mean, whatever its name is, Dory or Betsy or whatever its real name is. I always called it Lapras as a kid. That gets you a star. There's the metal cap that you use there. There's that random star where you just like jump up on a ledge and it's there. I don't know. It's Hazy Maze Cave. I hate the actual maze portion of it. It's funny. I probably have more bad things to say about this map. I hate the little poison parts of it. I hate the floating platform movement puzzle thing, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, again, looking at it objectively, it brought a lot of different things to the game. You know, the 8 red coin star is a pretty big endeavor going through that, again, vertical escalation, if you will. That just makes this level kind of stand out for it put a bunch of cool concepts together. It's one of the few levels that kind of feels like it has, I don't want to say one of the few levels. The downstairs levels are actually pretty cohesive, I think, compared to some of the other levels we talked about. So, not a level I like. I don't enjoy replaying this. I don't enjoy 100%ing Hazy Maze Cave, but it does a lot of strong things, I guess. So, in the blog, I said you have the underground lake part, which is actually not very fun, but it's a cool concept. You have the metal cap switch level, which I guess isn't much fun either, but it's a cool concept. Oh, there's the rolling rock part, which now that I think about it, isn't much fun either, but is a cool concept. So yeah, even back then when I was writing this up, I feel the same way. It's a bunch of cool concepts that aren't actually fun that make a pretty cohesive level. So yeah, that's Hazy Maze Cave in a nutshell. Number 6 is Whomp's Fortress. How did I leave this out of the top 5? Whomp's Fortress is really good. I think, Bomb-omb Battlefield is again another like cool concepts put together where Whomp's Fortress really feels like the first level. You drop in, you get up there, and I think one of the reasons I always want to knock Whomp's Fortress is literally Star 1 feels like a reskinning of Bomb-omb Battlefield. Like, you're ascending to fight a boss, But it takes it one step further. It gives you the tower, which I wish the tower was more fleshed out. It's literally the same platform puzzle that's in Donkey Kong 64, which, again, Donkey Kong 64 came out later. But Donkey Kong 64 kind of takes that tower concept and kind of, it allows DK to go in the tower and kind of do some stuff there. But I digress. The 8 red coins in the floating skies, there's only like 3 red coins in the actual floating sky. I wish they had made the floating sky more of the level. I can't imagine that would have been too hard. They gave us, 5 platforms, give or take. They could have given us more and put all 8 red coins up there. So the shoot off the block or whatever it's called is a pretty lame star, but I think one of the shortcuts that I think almost every Mario player learns is like when you can wall kick to jump up and skip the cannon in the blue sky. So I don't know. I really love Whomp's Fortress. The cage star is pretty dumb, and the chip off the block or blast through the wall or whatever it's called, those stars are kind of weak, admittedly, but the 100 coin star is really fun. Exploration is awesome. I wish they had fleshed out the tower and the floating islands a little more. If they had done that, then shoot, it might be the number 1 level, right? But again, just held back a little bit. So moving into number 5 is Big Boo's Haunt. Big Boo's Haunt's another one of those stars that biasly would be in my top 3. I love Big Boo's Haunt because to me it's just, and I'll say the same thing when we get to Bomb-omb Battlefield, but it's just platforming bliss. It doesn't really feel that hard. You get through it pretty quick. There's a good bit of secrets, and you can kind of go your own way. The boos make the 100 coin star a breeze, and yeah, I think the biggest knock for this level is I think 3 or 4 of the stars are just a rehash of fighting Boo, but it blew my mind when I figured out about the upstairs. As a kid, it was so hard getting to the upstairs, like doing the backwards wall kick flip or whatever to get up there. Oh my gosh, that was so hard as a kid. But I didn't really know where the invisible cap was as a kid, and I didn't really know about the upstairs as a kid. Those 2 stars took me forever, and I think my grandmother had to look it up on the internet. So to me, this level is actually very nostalgic. I remember just being upstairs, being like, or in the, I guess the second floor, because there's the attic, right? And just wondering, like, how the heck do I get up there, man? Like, this level filled me with wonder and mystery as a kid. And as an adult, it's become one of my favorite levels to play through. So there's a bit of a nostalgic factor when I talk about Big Boo's Haunt that maybe it's not in the top 5 for you, but for me, that's why I give it the edge. Number 4 is Tall, Tall Mountain. And this is a weird one for me. There are things about this level that I dislike, but this is objectively a very, very cool level. Climbing the mountain is one of the cooler things you get to do in this game. And there's so many parts to it. The star in the cage, the monkey, the rolling log, the waterfall. There's a lot to the mountain that makes it very cool. Falling off of it is terrible, which I did a lot as a kid. And there's the dumb mushroom star, the cannon where you have to shoot. I hate most levels that have cannons, or most stars that require cannons. And the monkey is super annoying, so I actually hated this level as a kid. I love kind of the atmosphere of it, the big blue sky and the waterfall and the mountain. But this level was very annoying as a kid. As an adult, though, it's just kind of cool. It's like Mario progressively goes up this mountain. There's a slide. I got to give bonus points for slides. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about Tall Tall Mountain, but I think the mountain itself is what makes it redeemable, I guess. It's just kind of weird to say about the number 4 level, but I just think, again, climbing the mountain brings us some cohesion that puts it this high up. Like, climbing the mountain feels like an endeavor, I guess. Maybe you guys disagree. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about Tall Tall Mountain. Okay. Shifting Sand Land. I said before about Big Boo Haunt as an adult, Snowman Land as an adult, and Lethal Lava Land as an adult. Those levels have really moved up my favorites as an adult. Shifting Sandland is a level that I just absolutely hated. The insta-death sand killed me so much as a kid, and the dumb klepto took my hat every time. But oh my gosh, do I respect the heck out of this level as an adult. There's so many like shortcuts, create your own path. The interior of the pyramid is insane. I love the levels that have little levels inside of them. Like you have Shifting Sandland, which is kind of this massive level. You've got the Oasis, you've got the pathway with the rotating blocks, you've got the random like lunch section. It reminds me of our park that we've got down the road. They've got this giant section set up with tables and everything. That's what it reminds me of. You've got all the flying cap things. I think I said the Oasis. So there's so many cool different parts of this map. And then you have inside the pyramid, which is its own living, breathing level. And then you have when you're flying around and you touch all the pillars, and that opens its way to a boss fight, which I, for the longest time, had no idea how to do that. That boss fight was one of the last stars I got as a kid. So, oh my gosh, like this level just has everything you could want. Again, it's got the insta-deaths, which kind of add a degree of difficulty again, you know. So yeah, I love Shifting Sandlands. It's not a level that's super fun to replay because of the insta-deaths, but when we're talking about level design, cohesiveness, and objectively a good level, I think Shifting Sandlands really has moved up the rung for me, because as a kid, I probably would have put this at like 10 or 11 and said, that level's stupid, that level's way too hard, forget that level. But as an adult, I just have an appreciation for this level. Coming in at number 2 is Bomb-omb Battlefield. Subjectively, my favorite level in all of platformers. Maybe I'd put it up against, Mafia Town, as just like drop me into a level and let me run around and play, collect coins, get stars, interact with the level as I see fit. Perfect opening level. I get it if this level is just too simple for some people, but this level is so perfect. It drops you in with almost no restrictions. The only thing that I don't really like is that they made the wing cap a requirement to get, the 8 red coins in the sky or whatever they call it for this level. And it really helps with the 100 coin star. I think it would have been perfect if they drop you in and let you get all 6 stars right out the bat. But they let you get 5 of the 7, I think, right out of the gate. And I always thought it was so cool that you could jump in. My earliest memory with this game is the chain chomp. And I think it was my uncle showing me that you can actually get this star first, even though it's the 6th star in the level. I always thought, that's so weird. You can get the 6th star first. That's crazy. So, you drop in. You can choose to make the ascent up to King Bomb-omb. You can try to get all 8 red coins. You can tackle the floating sky. No. You can do a lot of stuff in this level. I completely lost my train of thought, but this level is so darn cool. It's just iconic. It is the perfect opening level. I mean, what more can you say about it? I mean, it's just iconic. So I'm putting it at 2, even though it's probably my favorite level in the game. Number 1, the menace of my childhood, Tick-Tock Clock. It's funny. As a kid, I hated like half these levels. It's a wonder I like this game so darn much. I guess that speaks to how much I love Bomb-omb Battlefield. That literally half the map half these maps I'm like, this level kind of sucks, but I love this game. The 100 coin star is one of the worst stars in the game. I did not get all 120 stars as a kid, It was actually probably around the time I was like 20-something, 22. I loaded up my childhood copy, had 118 stars. Had to go get the 100 coin star and TikTok clock and Rainbow Ride or whatever. As a kid, I just said, shoot, future me can handle those. I do love this level from a gameplay, game design standpoint. You can enter the clock at different times, and that lets you control the rotation speed. I guess you can have it dead stop, you can have it go normal, you can have it slowed down, you can have it sped up, which you can use to kind of, okay, how do I want to tackle the 8 red coin star? How do I want to handle getting all the way to the top? Some stars are easier if you have it stopped completely, while I think some stars may be impossible. There's a pretty brutal moment on, I think, my Let's Play where I was going for like the last star of the map, and I want to say I had it on dead steel, and I couldn't get to the star. I want to say it was something similar to that. It was miserable to go back and watch. But this level is just super neat. It's well designed. It's very cohesive. And as a platformer, I mean, it's got all the platforming you could want. It's got tough ones. It's got easy ones. It's got unique ones. It's got ones where you can solve them kind of how you see fit. There's a great risk reward for this level. There are spots where you can't get the camera angle just right, but you know that platform's there, so you just long jump into, the blind unknown, and you grab hold of it, and you're like, awesome. And then there's other moments where you slip and fall, and you watch Mario just, boom. And then he falls again, boom. And then finally he falls to his death, and you're like, oh my gosh. Because the level is all basically vertical, right? So you fall, and sometimes you catch yourself, and you go, oh my gosh, I guess I'll restart from this point. And then other times you just watch Mario fall to his death. So this level, to me, this and Rainbow Ride have always just been behemoths in the platforming space. Like, if you wanted to show you're good at platformers, you go take on TikTok Clock and you go take on Rainbow Ride, and you put some hair on your chest and you show people you're a man. It's fun to explore. There's precision platforming, and it's difficult. So it's everything you could want in a 3D platformer. And it's just insane to think that this was really the first foray into 3D platforming, and they give us a level like TikTok Clock. That's all I'm saying. For this to be the first major 3D platformer, I know there was, I think, like Croc, and I think there was some other PS1 game, but this was really the first well-known, established IP 3D platformer. And to think that something like TikTok Clock, and half these levels, really, I mean, they're all just so good at what they do. So that's me ranking the top 15. Again, you ask me tomorrow, and maybe I find room for Whomp's Fortress. I don't know. I love most of these levels. Even the water levels are kind of cool, but really from Snowman Land up, I love every level. They're not always the most fun to replay. As I was saying, these levels are iconic and fun. That's just what Mario 64 is. It's iconic and fun to run around. As I was saying, even the worst levels are still have their moments. Dire Dire Docks, not so much. I'm fine if I don't play that level anymore. But at the end of the day, the courses and the stars helped make Mario 64 so iconic. And again, as I was saying, it's just mind-boggling that this was really one of the first major pushes into 3D space. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Let me know down below, what is your favorite course? If you sat through all of this one, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Check out some of our other videos, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.